All right, Charles. It's working so far.
Good. We're
Now,
live?
We are live, I believe. I'll check the other phone in a moment. So far, I just want to give this a second to be mellow with itself because it's hotter than I expected it to be, but it's not as hot as it's been. You know, we've done a bunch of shows where we've had kind of like temperature issues. The phones were overheating.
Right.
We've been relegated to the indoors for the past couple episodes due to inclement weather, you know, rain or whatnot. How are you feeling today, Charles?
I'm feeling great, and I'm glad to be back here with you at a very significant place. I did not know you in 2014, but in 2014 with a friend, we will not say his name, with whom we traveled to Bosnia, I was standing out here, parked out here, to be in line to watch the people who would stand in line to buy Hillary Clinton's absurd book, Hard Choices.
And you punched Alec Baldwin.
No, it was pretty close to that though. I was right there where those city bike bikes are.
Yep.
Right, standing almost on that manhole cover, and I saw Jesse Waters. So I started talking to Jesse, and you know, we just yucked it up a little bit, and then I said to Jesse, you know, just joking around, I said, "What kind of an idiot would stand in line to get a copy of this book?" And this girl next to me said, "Well, I'm that kind of idiot because this book was, my brother was the editor of this book."
Right.
So I said something like, "So a family of idiots then," or something
Nice.
like that. And but you would look down the line, and I'm sure there's footage of this back that some people can find and maybe circulate in the comment section. It was around the block filled with these people, you know, who were ready for Hillary, and there was a bus, you know, they had totally by coincidence that said, you know, "Ready for Hillary" or something like that, right parked where that park conservation truck is, or right in there somewhere. One lone bus, you know, as if this all wasn't completely scripted. Now, putting that in perspective, okay, at that time when the book came out, Hillary Clinton still retained possession of all of her emails that would have been created or received from the time that it was first mooted that she might be Secretary of State until after she left Secretary of State on February 1st, 2009. She still had, 13 rather, she still had all those emails.
But didn't they know right away when Barack Obama became president that she was going to become Secretary of State? There's that photo of her with Barack Obama and Jim Jones, and the sign says President-elect Barack Obama. Jim Jones, as Patrick Berge told me, controls that company Clearforce,
Right.
which I believe, well, I know you don't want to talk about this, so I won't say what I believe.
All right.
What I do want to do, Charles, is while we talk today, I'm going to take us on a little bit of a detour, because on my walk over here, I observed that there are a ton of business closures that you and I have not yet seen, and also a lot of new plywood coming up, which I don't think is
That's
promising.
never a good sign.
No.
What did that guy just say?
I didn't hear him.
Anyway, so yeah, what's happened is
It's
because
super hot, Charles.
it is. It'll be cool once we make it into the shade here, I think. Once, what's happened now that Nancy Pelosi tried a lead balloon of insisting that in addition to $1 trillion that the Republicans wanted, which is in itself a very large stimulus at this time, in addition to that $1 trillion to go to people and businesses afflicted, they wanted $2 trillion to basically send to this rat hole here in New York City and state and other poorly run Democrat-controlled states.
$2 trillion to send to New York?
And other states that have been chronically mismanaged, typically by Democrats for long periods of time. She just put her foot down and said, no. You know, she originally asked for 2 on top of the 1. And then she said, well, let's see if we can find common ground. You say 2 is too much. I think I now want 2.4.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
She's negotiating in reverse,
Oh,
Charles.
she's an idiot. Honestly, she's a fidiot, as that friend of ours suggested is a new term. We won't say what it stands for, but people can connect the dots.
Well, I want you to have a little look around. I don't know if you've been, we're on Broadway right now, and you know, this is pretty premium area down here as far as the businesses that occupy it. You and I have spoken about how, I think we're about to lose this light.
Okay,
We've spoken about how, you know, Brooks Brothers has basically taken out their big
bankrupt.
and their big flagship store was over here. This is Paragon Sporting Goods.
It's still in business.
It is, but the thing is, I mean, I'm not sure if it is what it once was. Like prior to Amazon.com and stuff, like that was a go-to place where
Sure.
people would travel to New York City to go shopping there. I'm not sure we have that kind of destination shopping anymore now.
Anywhere.
Right.
Another one that went bankrupt is Lord & Taylor.
Yeah, my grandmother used to work there
She worked there, wow.
years ago. I mean, she died when I was a young teenager. But so Charles, this struck me as being new.
This is actually, Jason, I've got to bring you into the loop. I'm a style expert, as you know. This is the new style. This is trendy, right?
But also, joking aside, this is a Walgreens, so we're not just talking about small businesses closing. You know, Walgreens, Duane Reade, they merged at some point, and that's a drugstore.
Now, this is a diet store.
I think this was the Brooks Brothers, wasn't it?
It's a diet store. You can tell the people are so thin you can't see it.
Right. So this was the Brooks Brothers. This is now 35,000 square feet, flagship retail space, totally empty. The AMC movie theater.
That's been shut for a while.
Exactly, and that's a huge space. It takes up like half the block and goes downstairs, takes a lot of space. I think that AMC is not going to be able to reopen these movie theaters, and they're going to lose a ton of money. I've been sending you a lot of stuff from some of the Hollywood publications that I still get talking about what's going on with AMC. But this cheese place is a huge restaurant-style space that's closed and has wood there.
The owners are cheesed off.
Okay, this place is out, 893 Broadway.
I mean, is
The Equinox.
anything in... Well, Equinox gyms, I think, are shut everywhere.
Of course. And I mean, this is a huge space. I don't know how they're going to, you know, first of all, a lot of people are going to be reluctant to go to a gym and be sweating around other people. I mean, that's a huge, huge space that they haven't had any income. Probably a lot of people canceling. Let's see, what else did I see over here? It just, when I was walking over, I was kind of overwhelmed, Charles.
Yeah, and here we are, August, is it the 9th? And, you know, people are now making decisions. Do they really want to have their kids go to school in New York City, in New York State? People are flying out of here like crazy. Right. And you don't, you know, when you watch this buffoon communist thug, de Blasio, do what he's done, you don't assume that he's going to learn on the job and reverse course. I mean, he's only going to get worse.
Exactly. Look at that, 902 Broadway, the ground level store is out. I don't even remember what that was.
Another one here?
Yeah, entire building for lease. Okay. Now this place has an upstairs, and I don't see any tables, so I presume this restaurant is totally not being utilized. Actually, this might have been Brooks Brothers. Which one was?
Brooks Brothers was back
there. So this is something else now, totally closed. Oh, this was Restoration Hardware.
That was a great place. And this, around here, I think there used to be a guy living around here in the corner. Let's see if he's still there. Yeah, on the street up here.
Something going on.
But, you know, when you're sitting here, so it's August 9th, you're a business person trying to make a decision. Do you want to invest capital in New York City? And, you know, you go and you talk to your lawyer. Next thing you know, you're in an insane asylum because your lawyer says, we got to give power of attorney to your lawyer. Yeah.
This French place seems closed, Charles.
Yeah, this is a great chain, actually. I think they expanded too frequently. There's another one that's out.
Yep, that was a lighting place. That's the original office. That building is the original office of 21st Century 3D after 9/11.
Where's the plaque?
Yeah. Oh, actually, sorry, 928. That was it. That building right there. That's 936. That's next door. Yeah, that huge retail space used to be a lamp store. This is also what I wanted to show you, Charles. Another chain, Pan Quotidian.
That's a big
citywide chain, totally out of business.
Did all of it go out of business?
Well, this one is Thor Equities. They're trying to rent the space.
Wow.
And then this thing here. What was this?
I think we could ask the other question. Is anything open?
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Actually, why don't we do this, Jason? We haven't done, I don't think we've ever walked down 3rd Avenue.
Sure.
So we could go past Peter Thiel's building.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Bentley SUV, Charles. Why'd you park all the way over there?
It's actually just 2 of my fleet. Just circling around at all times.
The other thing I want you to notice, Charles, is that these buildings formerly occupied by high rent tenants are now we've got little box domiciles being set up.
This is called living al fresco.
Exactly. I mean, not to joke about people's misfortune, but there's a lot of that happening. Paying tenants moving out, homeless people moving in. This doesn't make, high-income tax-paying people want to move back to New York City, does it?
No, it doesn't. And there's Joe Biden. He's working on his campaign platform right there.
The drummer?
Beating out a theme. Actually, this drummer is pretty good. He beats on pots and pans. Right over there.
Yep. He had a good beat going earlier. But I also noticed that there's another Duane Reade closed on my walk over here. So, one of the biggest reasons why someone might choose to live in New York City is the convenience afforded by all this, shopping, availability of lots of stores and things.
Well, it's the convenience of getting mugged.
Yes, that convenience has been increased. I think that's an electric bike that guy's got.
Simon Cowell just broke his back on one of those.
Oh my gosh, that sounds bad.
Not good. They seem to be quite dangerous. I think one of the reasons they're so dangerous is they accelerate very quickly. And you're not used to, when you're walking along and you're gauging, is a bike going to get in your way? You don't assume that it suddenly goes from 0 to 40 in 3 seconds or something like that. Now
Charles, I wanted to show you that little run there because it was pretty shocking to me. How do you feel about all that?
Well, I just think the handwriting's on the wall here. We've got interest rates on the floor. I believe interest rates are going to go lower than their present levels, which I've got a nice bet. I benefit if that does happen, so I'll disclose. But they've tried all of these different approaches, and the bottom line is the only thing that is going to reignite a national economy is if there are more private sector jobs, an increasing number of private sector jobs created and maintained at a higher level of after-tax earnings. Because with that, the working population has the ability to make purchasing decisions. If, on the other hand, what you do is you institute policies that destroy industries like AOC and her stupid-ass Green New Deal that even mini AOC, I'm sure, knows is an idiotic scheme.
I like mini AOC better than regular size AOC.
Mini AOC follows me, and I don't think AOC will ever follow me. Thank God. But over there is the Charles Schwab office, and I think they may be permanently shutting that one.
Really?
Well, it looks like it.
I mean, it looks like most of the stuff around here is kind of...
Yeah, and here's Biden's economic advisor.
Yeah.
So you can if you go to this place for fish tacos, or you go to Arby's. I must confess, it's the first Arby's I've ever noticed in Manhattan. I'm sure there are other ones.
It doesn't look too open.
No. It's a slow food restaurant.
They have food there? It says it's temporarily closed.
Right next to Kebab Kitchen.
Now, I mean, look at all this, Charles. This is, I don't know if people realize, this is 23rd Street. This is a major, street here.
To put it in perspective, I moved to this area and I want to say I moved in September of 1981 when this was a ghost town. And in September of 1981, this was a rundown commercial district with very few restaurants, and interest rates were sky high. They were like, mortgage rates, if you could get one, were like 14-15%. And after dark, this place was overrun with hookers. And this was so when I see this, it's actually an upgrade.
Charles, sorry, another Walgreens closed.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So this is actually an upgrade from what I remember.
Closed.
Well, right. Yeah, at least they're not, tumbleweeds blowing around yet.
But I think it's important that people realize Walgreens of this size are selling groceries and, cleaning supplies and the type of stuff that you would expect people would be buying even right now.
Well, Walgreens is a big company, actually. I think it might even be a Dow component. I mean, it's a very large company.
So what do you think about
So-
them closing all these big retail stores in New York City?
It's not good. So that's that's where my third apartment in New York City was there.
Let's head down this way.
Do you want to head down or you want to go down Third?
Oh, sorry, yeah, 3rd Avenue. Super stinks right here.
Go to the median then.
Huh?
Careful, this car's coming quick.
Super fast.
It's never a great move to have a plywood in a vitamin shop here, right in the corner of 23rd and Park Avenue South.
Well,
Doesn't
that seems
generally
open at least.
do much for the value of real estate.
Well, I mean, just in terms of the aesthetics of walking down a street like this, where the impression certainly is that most businesses are closed
Yeah.
and boarded up, and it doesn't, I mean, this doesn't promote commerce.
Nope. I mean, this is, I would say this is derelict. And, you know, this is
Right.
part of it. You know, I think we're going to eventually see, this is gone forever, obviously, but
know
we'll
what that
eventually
was.
see restaurants come back. But I don't think we're going to see retail, you know, grocery stores and drug stores coming back, because Amazon's big into that space now, and you can do a lot of that ordering online. It doesn't really matter, you know, necessarily where you get your drugs, and indeed a lot of drugs are shipped to people. Prescription drugs are shipped in the mail now. So, but this is, I mean, somebody, I guess perhaps DeCrazio's parents are not still alive, but somebody he might listen to, if there is anybody, should go pay the guy a visit and say, listen, you know, you're not smart enough to be an ass clown. What you're doing here is destroying, you have destroyed the city. You have destroyed the lives of countless students. You have made it virtually certain that financial and industry and wealthy people are going to
Will
flee
not
the
return.
city. Huh?
Will not return.
Yeah, they're never going to come back, because you can never. You see, once you've seen this, it happened in the '70s. People foolishly came back in the '90s, '80s, and '90s. Now it's happening again. And you know, when Bernie Sanders, a man who's never made an honest nickel in his life, his first solution when government screws up is to have the millionaires and billionaires pay for everything. How about he pays for it? I mean, how about we draw a line and look at his net worth before he got into politics, and look at his net worth afterward, and why don't we do a tax on his accumulated net worth while he was holding political office?
I have a better idea. Tax graft at 100%.
I'd say
150%,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and if he can't pay it, put him in debtor's prison.
Which way are we going here?
I guess sidewalk closed, please use walkway, unless you want to stay up by the street.
No, that's fine. I mean, Charles, it's just amazing how each week it's just becoming more and more, I guess it's interesting from the standpoint of being a show that you can watch on YouTube or Patreon or Subscribestar, but...
Well, I think you have done, I mean, you've done more shows than I have by far, more than just the ones with me, but we've done a lot together walking around the city, and I don't know of another production that has regularly gone from March 16th to the present, showcasing, or I don't know if showcasing is the right phrase, but dramatically illustrating how poorly the city is turning out.
It's really disconcerting.
You know, and I'm sure we're going to see a few rats before long. This used to be a nice restaurant. It's changed hands a bunch of times.
Doesn't look like it's doing too well.
It's not. Some dim sum. So 3rd Avenue in the 70s and 80s used to be a slum. And going from 3rd to 2nd east was very dangerous.
Well, in Alphabet City, forget it.
Yeah. Well, let's for us youngsters I know have said from time to time, for shits and giggles, let's either walk down 3rd or walk down 2nd.
This is 3rd, isn't it?
I'm just saying we'll walk down 3rd a little bit, then maybe go over and show people 2nd.
Sure.
So to let restaurants make up for the fact that they can't entertain indoors, now restaurants are
Wait,
allowed.
should we ask this woman? How's business going? Say again? Good? That's good. Take care.
Yeah, it's obvious. It's going great. She's got
It doesn't look that good.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously she's probably got a banker who's
I
lent her a
appreciate
bunch of
her
money.
positive attitude,
Right.
though.
But you look at this place, Molly's, right? So Molly's has a certain amount of feet in the regular store, but they've been aggressive and they've taken more feet. And I guess I don't know if China King is separate and the Tivoli Diner is separate, but these restaurants are reclaiming sidewalk space, I think, in compliance with applicable law. And this will work great in the summer, but come
Right.
late October, early November, this strategy is not going to work too well.
So what are they going to do? Will they allow in-store dining or whatever? We don't really know.
I think it's taken the journalists way too long to realize, the mainstream journalists way too long to realize just how stupid this program is. I mean, with all the ballyhooing, and there's obviously been lots of deaths, and actually somebody I know died last week of COVID. But this particular case, it's okay. This particular case is somebody who was diagnosed with a severe form of cancer and then went in for common treatment in a hospital and developed a fever and died several days later, and they attribute the cause 100% to COVID.
Well, that guy must be the bartender sitting inside there.
Yeah.
So they attribute it 100% to COVID, even though the person had cancer. And
I don't want to be too specific because it'll give away the person. But the point is that these people, the hospitals and states and cities that run the hospitals are getting incentives for calling illnesses COVID related. We're not getting an honest accounting of what percentage of a given case, of a given death, will be attributable solely to COVID, and what percentage to other factors, and nor have we had a fair count of the number of cases. So when you think about mortality, the number of deaths, it's one thing, and it's obviously horrible to have 160, 170,000 deaths if those are all due to COVID. But you have to look at that in context. You first have to say the population of the United States is 325 million or thereabouts. In the last 20 years, the population has been aging because people have been having fewer kids and living longer. So you might expect the number of deaths just from other causes is a large number on a population of 325, 330 per year. Is it 2 million per year? Is it 3 million? I don't know. But there are statistics on that. And instead of breathlessly reporting the number of COVID deaths and COVID cases, you have to look at the whole picture. Historically, what has the trend been? How many influenza deaths do they have? And then when we start thinking about, the consequences of this lockdown, you can't say, well, let's not look at suicides.
right.
Let's not look at abuse caused when families, unfortunately, are stuck at home with nothing to do, and people aren't working, and tempers are frayed, and the
Getting
deaths are
drunk,
mounting.
beating people up.
Yeah, not just kids being beaten, but sometimes husbands beating wives or wives taking. And it's not just physical abuse that matters; it's also the emotional abuse. So I mean, this whole story is being told incorrectly by the media. It's being scored incorrectly by the media, and the damage that has been done here is just monumental.
Now, Charles, this is a fairly lucky circumstance, I would say, for this Greek restaurant. This place, I guess it's a hardware store, is out of business, so they've been able to somehow utilize the
Much more
sidewalk in
space.
front of it.
Now,
That almost
I
seems like a
like this.
full-size restaurant.
On the one hand, I like this, but on the other hand, that is a rat with wings. That is a pigeon. Pigeon spread disease.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple concerns with it, of course. Like on a day like today, it's fine to be eating outside, and they've got the tents and all that sort of stuff. But as you said, in just a short while, it's going to start becoming not so conducive to eating outdoors.
Right.
And at night, you're still subject to all the roaming lunatics, winged and otherwise.
Yeah, right. So this is one of my best friends, actually, growing up in elementary school, lived in 16th and 3rd here. So I spent a lot of time over here. This portion, actually, save for the sidewalk cafes, has not changed all that much. since to a certain extent it has, but not all that much since the 60s and 70s when I remember it. That's a booming business.
There's nobody in there.
I know. By booming, I mean blowing up.
Yeah, I mean, all of these businesses are pretty closed.
This
Even
place
the ones
I
that are open.
used to go to in 2009.
Sunburst Cafe.
Yeah, it's not bad actually for brunch. I had a friend of mine was living in a building over there.
So Charles, the other thing is, you know, I saw this report that de Blasio is suggesting that the city could buy up some of these vacant buildings and turn them into low-cost housing. So isn't that sort of some kind of maybe surreptitious redistribution of wealth when you deliberately make a bunch of decisions that cause valuable properties to lose their value and, you know, tax-paying citizens to fear for their safety, their businesses and their lives to leave, and then you buy up that stuff because you've just crushed the demand, so you've made it cheap and now you give it out to people. That seems like
Yeah, it seems like
socialism.
economic illiteracy. I mean, the starting place, you say, what's the credit capacity of New York City? Has it been improved or worsened since March 16th, 2020?
I say it's a lot worse,
I'd say it's 50% of what it once was, if that.
if that.
And it's running a deficit. It's got too much debt. It's got too many overpaid bureaucrats and pensioners. And they've managed to get away with looting and laundering this place. You know, laundering the funds they raise for these supposed social programs to end up in the pockets of the cronies and looting the programs for themselves in many ways, not just the way you described.
So that really gives a new meaning to crony virus, Charles.
Exactly.
Which
Exactly.
is sort of where I came up with that idea in the first place.
Yeah, it looks like Sally's Spa's not doing too well.
What is Sally's Spa?
It is a former business.
Oh, now Charles, I forgot to take you through the today's graphic.
Let's do that. That graphic is fantastic.
Yeah, it's Joe Dirt 2020. Of course, we've got Joe Dirt himself with his buddy B-Rock, Barry Soetoro Obama, the most, at least physically attractive member of Congress, which is not saying too much. Ocasio-Cortez, she's sort of hanging on, hoping for a victory. Hillary looking sort of irritated that she's being left in the dust. I think she still had designs on being president, but once Joe Biden is officially found to be totally incompetent, it seems more probable that that role might go to Susan Rice or some other double agent.
Yeah, so Susan Rice, there's a piece in National Review, I forget who the author is, but it's 5 things you don't know about Susan Rice. Now, and other people have written, 10 things you don't know and 100 things you don't know. What?
Well, it seems that China has taken over the Gramercy Spire, Charles, based on the font.
We've got some homeless people here on the street. We don't want to disturb their sleep.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So this
5 things you
article
don't know about Susan Rice.
Yeah, 5 things that you don't know, and it recounts that, first of all, she's got all the great qualities you want in an idiot, an effing idiot. I mean, she is stupid and doesn't want to listen to dissenting opinions. So that's why, careful, that's why she got us involved in not doing anything about Rwanda.
No, they played a role in causing that business in Rwanda.
And then in Democratic Republic of Congo, another one. Sierra Leone, another one. It goes on and on into great depth about how this person has, literally everything she has touched has turned to shit. And yet this person is going to be a heartbeat, less than a heartbeat away from the president if the Democrats go so far as to attempt to nominate her as vice president.
Are you a junkie?
Exactly.
He's fine.
I know, I'm a lion dog-faced pony soldier.
And a junkie.
And listen, Pat.
Yeah.
I'm just the kind of person you want, a steady hand on the tiller of, the leadership of the free world. Yeah, go that way.
Charles, so many of these flagship retail spaces are open now. I mean, this is going to create a rent collapse for
Absolutely.
retail landlords. I mean, it's got to already be there. No one's renting anything. Sure.
Over a second, and then we'll go.
But let's cross here
Cross and
because
go
we get a little more
right. Sure.
shade.
So you have, in some buildings still going up. Now there's a lot of NYU related
That's
construction.
NYU, I think, yeah.
So yeah, if the students ever go back to school, perhaps that's going to work. But anyway, so on the
Susan Rice, she's a Rhodes Scholar.
Rhodes Scholar, yeah, she was centrally involved as ambassador to the UN, messing that up. Benghazi, yeah. This book, this article in National Review claims that somebody I think is the most ruthless and dumbest aspirant to being president of the United States, save for Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, according to this article, outsmarted Susan Rice. Hillary Clinton was supposed to go explain what happened in Benghazi, and she convinced Susan Rice to do the 5 shows instead of Hillary doing it. So when somebody as dumb as Hillary Clinton outsmarts you, that says a lot.
I don't think she outsmarted her. I think Susan Rice is part of this whole thing. This is the 200-year manifesto from Cecil Rhodes about taking over the world. She's one of the Dominion, you know.
Yeah. Well, so we look at this, and we have the only person who's communicating somewhat effectively with the public is Trump. Biden's in his basement or who knows where. He can't even pick a vice president, let alone a cabinet.
He was joking about having a vice president, Charles.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to do that.
Wouldn't be prudent. But
It's outside of his purview, I think, is the new.
Right. I am the vice president.
No, dude, you're not supposed to stop. That person just almost got us killed. Obviously, not from New York City.
Let's go over it a second.
They got to keep driving. They throw off the whole rhythm.
But so we look at this, and the Democrats are ill prepared in general, but they're certainly poorly prepared for a fair election. Now, if they think they've rigged it, maybe it doesn't matter who you put up as president and vice president the way they're looking at it. But we were talking earlier, and I'll just spin out this sinister alternative. Which
Too sunny on that side.
No, I'm thinking we're going to go 13th.
Okay.
Yeah. It's cool. Then we'll go down second. To show people a new side of New York. Go through the old. Is it Ukrainian or it's Eastern European?
Little Kiev over there.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm reminded, Charles, that this place, which is also out of business, but it happened before the pandemic, that used to be my favorite Thai restaurant. That was a farm-to-table Thai restaurant where the chef was this woman who won some reality show.
Really? How do you serve? Do you mean
it was like organic ingredients and kind of like healthy versions of Thai.
So you wouldn't check too carefully where that looks. Chicken looks a lot like a rat.
I don't know. It was a delicious restaurant. It was like just very unique and kind of healthy Thai. It's gone now.
Yeah. This is nice and cool.
Yeah, nice and breezy.
Yeah. But back in the 70s, you dare not walk east in this area.
Right. Yeah, even when I started going to NYU, I mean, definitely Alphabet City was sort of not a place that you would go
Not
to.
a thing.
Wow.
What?
That was a delicious looking chicken that guy was eating.
You hungry, Jason? You want me to buy you some food?
I mean,
You peckish.
I've been eating ravioli and chicken tenders, and I sometimes, cook nice stuff, but it takes a lot of time.
So it's just spinning out this idea. What they may be doing is they've locked in mail-in voting. I think I read somewhere 41 million ballots are going to be sent out between absentee and mail-in, and we see the chaos here in New York City, in the state, where the primary, I think, was held June 23rd, and then something like 25% of the ballots they've been through so far have been disqualified. They don't have a result yet.
Wow.
And so, if you're really being devious and prepared in roulette terms to shoot for 00,
what do you mean?
Unlikely that 00 hits that frequently, but you put all your chips on 00 because you know where the wheel, you set the wheel.
52-1 payout.
Yeah, and
Got it.
in this case, if you believe that the House of Representatives stays under the control of the Democrats, if the electors are not able to reach a decision as to who won well before January 20th, 2021, the election decision is sent to the House of Representatives.
Wow. So they vote for us.
Yeah, they turn it over. It's happened before, and it's happened.
When did that happen?
In the very early time frame. I think Thomas Jefferson's first election, and I think I may have this wrong, but I think there was one. It might have been Jefferson where he cast the deciding vote for himself or something. And there's
that would be awesome if Trump could do that.
Well, but what I'm
spend the next
suggesting
4 years laughing at Nancy Pelosi.
Well, I think it's the reverse. I think what they believe is that the Democrats will control the House, and that they'll turn the decision over to the Democrats, and Democrats will have Pelosi installed as President of the United States. Wouldn't that be great?
That'd be terrible.
And the nightmare scenario is if they somehow managed to also steal the Senate. So you'd go from having, now they presently control the House, and you see what damage they've done with that. If they, went from that to having President Pelosi and controlling the House and Senate. Now, the good news on all that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Charles, but look at this building. What is this building? This did not have graffiti on it until very recently.
I don't know. Some kind of a.
So Pelosi could be the president.
And the good news in that scenario is that the markets will suss that out. And if the markets begin to believe that that is a realistic possibility, you're going to have a crash well before the election. I don't think that's
good.
It's not good. I'm just saying you'll have a sense of what they're up to. Because remember, people start voting. I think in certain states you can vote starting in September. So we're going to have a sense of how the votes are coming in. Now, I think in a fair election, it's a Trump landslide.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
but you just put a major caveat on that.
Right.
Fair election.
And the question of whether it's going to be fair or not, let's stay in the shade till it.
Well, I don't think we got any cars here.
Okay. In the question of whether it's fair or not, I think the Trump base is motivated to come out in, hugely. We could talk about, for example, this thing that we did a lot of. I did a print interview with the great Katya Blainova, and then I was on One American News with Liz Wheeler on Friday. Janine Pirro, independently on her show on Saturday, took issue with, on the one hand, the action of Tish James, the community activist, radical Democrat Attorney General of New York, who decided not merely to discipline the National Rifle Association, but to seek to dissolve the entire organization.
Yeah, I mean, that seems
outrageous. They had never even supposedly, according to the NRA, contacted the NRA to say there was an issue. They didn't give them a chance to respond. And the first action that you would take against a rogue organization like that is you might consider appointing a conservator. And as Janine pointed out, she was in exactly that condition. There was some charity that was operating outside the law, and she herself got a conservator installed to fix it up. You don't move to dissolve it
without giving them any opportunity to remedy the deficiencies.
Well, and in addition, it's a relatively small compared to the Clinton Foundation operation. The NRA was established and organized and operated in compliance with law in New York City and state beginning in 1871. The Clinton Foundation was never lawfully organized or operated anywhere in the world, let alone inside New York, which has far stricter charity laws than Arkansas does, where it nominally was organized, or I should say incorporated, on October 23rd, 1997. So
I thought it was pretty funny that the Arkansas whatever said, "Oh, why don't you bring your charity over here? We're down with illegal charities."
Well, we're going to call them out this week in a major way because, the Attorney General of Arkansas is responsible for oversight. He's the primary overseer of the fake Clinton Foundation in Arkansas. And the governor is also, both of these are Republican and have been for a while. They could have done something about this long ago. I personally contacted and spoke to, I think, the chief of staff of the Attorney General of Arkansas in 2015, and they did bupkis. All sorts of excuses. Well, we just got in, we got other fish to fry. We don't yet have the bandwidth to do this. It's complicated. Leave it with us, and they didn't do anything. So, the NRA is a legitimate organization, nonprofit organization, and in New York, the Clinton Foundation never bothered to register with the Secretary of State. It never, until 2009, it never declared the many conflicts. Bill Clinton's fundraising operation, the political operations of Bill and Hillary separately and together, and the Democrats, the attempts to raise money for legal expenses, the fact that the entity that put the Clinton Foundation together, the original one, was owed millions of dollars for years by the Clintons, and for normal clients would never let people run $1 million receivable for 6 or 7 years.
No, nobody would, particularly not lawyers. They'd sue you.
Right, exactly.
Now wait, let me take you back a second, Charles, because it was just about a month ago that we were feeling quite positive about Letitia James for sending out this notice to the Black Lives Matters Foundation that they're acting illegally. And the thing that it's caused me to consider is, to what extent do you think that was done, and possibly even that foundation created?
Well, what do you speaking just on the tissue?
Who are you aiming at?
We're not.
Oh, that guy just made a gun out of his fingers and went boom, boom, and pointed it at me.
Just leave it alone, Jason.
Yeah, he's the one starting crap with me. I'm just looking at this, Charles. All these businesses out.
Yeah, that guy's got nothing better to do.
I guarantee what I got for him, if he wants to create a problem,
he's
is not
bigger
going to
than
be...
both of us combined. He's a big dude.
What?
He's bigger physically than both of us combined.
Oh, I hear you, but he's probably not going to get electrocuted. Anyway, so Charles, look at how everything is out of business. The thing I was getting at is, to what extent, and perhaps this will be considered a conspiracy theory, but to what extent do you think the Black Lives Matter Foundation was created just so Letitia James could send that letter and appear to be even-handed so that she could then go after the NRA?
Well, she's been going after the NRA for 18 months. So, according to...
Right, but I mean, doing this, sending this letter to the Black Lives Matter Foundation, and by the way, I'm pretty sure this is where, in the beginning of May, that guy got smashed on his face by the NYPD right here.
Really? Right here?
I think this is where it was. But anyway, it certainly made her appear even-handed to do that, right?
Well, I mean, her record, long and horrible record, is, it goes well back before 2018 when she was elected Attorney General.
Huh. She's elected or appointed?
Elected.
So we can vote for the Attorney General?
Absolutely.
Charles, so many businesses out.
Yeah, well, we're now getting into a pretty dodgy part of New York.
Yes.
As you can see, underneath these scaffolds, a lot of people just living.
Yeah.
So
now, you also were telling me that you were in a retail store and somebody walked in smoking a cigarette.
And with lit incense. Yeah, I was at Barnes & Noble.
I mean, again, it's just another indicator. Like, that guy thinks it's totally fine for him to be provocative by sitting on the street, pointing his finger at me and making a gun indication, which is obviously, it's a childish but subtle threat that really a reasonable person shouldn't be doing to somebody else. But we've got a lot of petty criminals who feel emboldened. The cops aren't going to do anything.
Yeah, you're back on Biden and Rice now? What are you talking about? Petty criminals?
Emboldened petty criminals. Although they're not petty criminals, they're doing huge crimes.
So back though, first, if we can finish on Tish. So
yeah, Letitia.
The contrast between her aggressive action against National Rifle and her complete woeful inaction, despite being contacted by Larry Doyle and John Moynihan and by me.
She was directly contacted
Absolutely.
by you guys? About the Clinton Foundation.
With great detailed specificity.
And what was the response? Did they give an official response?
They assigned a case number to it, and it went up the chain. They just decided we're not going to do anything about it.
And she certainly didn't make some big public announcement on Twitter,
right.
Breaking, right?
Well, and that's another thing that I pointed out on air, that she before the 11:30 a.m. announcement on Thursday, she either on Twitter or elsewhere said, "I will have an announcement that will have far-reaching national implications at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday morning." Last I checked, Tish James is the Attorney General of New York, not the Attorney General of the United States. And so, she just admitted that she was grandstanding, trying to
Political prosecution.
Yeah. And there's a fellow who's frankly quite annoying, named I think Noah Feldman, who's a professor at Harvard Law School, who I think took Alan Dershowitz's seat after Dershowitz left. So he's a young guy, Rhodes Scholar, very,
oh my God,
successful academic type, and appointed as the top law professor at Harvard. Even he, a lefty, penned an article that I think went out on Friday saying what Tish James is doing is extremely dangerous because it sets a precedent. There are 50 state attorney generals. Are we now going to have, a conservative attorney general decide to dissolve Planned Parenthood, a national organization, in a move launched, let's say, in South Carolina that would affect, you can't let this precedent stand, I don't believe. But it's certain to intensify and be a matter of great concern right through the election.
Charles, I'm paying close attention to everything that you say. I don't mean to be distracting, but
okay.
Every single block has multiple businesses out. Graffiti.
Well, this business is thriving.
This is thriving.
The junk business.
Graffiti all over the place. Businesses closed. Most of the restaurants that we're seeing, that guy's wearing body armor out in public.
Which guy?
There's a guy sitting there eating his lunch wearing body armor. Did you see that?
I didn't.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure the laws don't matter.
right. I mean, Charles, we're walking through a ghost town. I've been, my series has been called Ghost Town NYC, but I mean, it's literal and clear.
It's a lot busier than it was 3 months ago, though.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of like The Walking Dead. It's people like us who are still here trying to utilize the shells of businesses that remain. But the infrastructure of this city, and I mean even the business infrastructure, is designed to accommodate millions of people. If we cut that in half or less, the businesses won't be able to be sustained by those remaining, and it's going to be this continuing cascade of failure.
Exactly.
I mean, all these businesses are super graffitied up.
Yeah, well,
The ones that remain.
exactly.
Yeah, there's some.
Nothing shady happens at this place, I'm sure. So,
The funeral.
yeah, nobody checks too carefully, whether.
Wait, look at what the name of it is. Provenzano.
Lanza.
What does Lanza say to you, Charles?
I don't know.
Do you remember the person who was the, people in the audience will know, one of my videos was removed from YouTube last week for talking about this guy who was involved in something in Connecticut, whose father was GE Financial.
We won't get into it, yeah.
Wasn't Peter Lanza a GE Financial guy?
May have been. I mean, a lot
Yeah,
of
he
people
was.
at GE. By the way, I also can report that I've read more carefully that book on GE, and it does discuss an article that was written at my instigation by a guy called Joe Nocera, a very famous New York Times person. It was, we put it up on the screen from time to time. The headline is GE exclamation mark is in trouble. And it does mention how that article came around, what GE's reaction was to it. But the book covers more the aftermath of GE and how it came under the control of this hedge fund, Trian, T-R-I-A-N, and how it seems to be utterly discredited now as being a place where the business executives know what they're doing, because they don't.
Well, speaking of business executives, it would be really super interesting for you and I and some of the other guests on Crowdsource the Truth to have a conversation someday about this guy, Peter Lanza, and his role at GE Financial and the coincident timing of his son becoming involved in something so controversial that even talking about it last week got a strike on Crowdsource the Truth. So if people are trying to watch this video on the Jason Goodman channel, you got to watch it on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth.
East.
Or Crowdsource the Truth 2 on YouTube. People should subscribe to Crowdsource the Truth 2. It's a backup channel. Charles, I don't want to get into it, but you know the details of the unprecedented and numerous legal challenges that are being posed to me at this moment.
Yeah.
Now, we're on the Lower East Side here.
I think we definitely should go this way. That
Okay,
gets
yeah,
into,
I
that
agree.
gets into very dangerous territory.
Because there's not that much stuff going on over there. Now, this huge thing is a Whole Foods, isn't it?
I think it's a Half Foods.
No, the whole bottom. This is the largest Whole Foods.
It's a Quarter Foods now.
I get
It's
it.
an 8 Foods.
I think it's something, but I don't know. I mean, Whole Foods is...
Yeah, this is the Bowery. This is where I was walking with my brother. We'll walk down here. Maybe I'll go.
I don't think they had all that graffiti before.
They did maybe 30 years ago. Back now.
Right.
So,
Letitia James is a mess. What's going to happen with that, you think?
well, I think there's a lot of... Trump made it, as usual, a very controversial statement when he went out to Whirlpool to give a speech. And I think Friday he said, "You're not going to see me for a while," which is pretty unusual because the president, unless he's on vacation,
even then he's on TV every day.
Well, sometimes they get. Let's wait here in the shade. Sometimes he, they'll cut the president slack. I know they cut Obama a lot of slack on vacation, and Clinton and others. But it was an odd statement. And right before we went on, I think around 2 o'clock, I checked to see whether Trump had tweeted today, and he hadn't, which is unusual, because generally he goes crazy. I mean, I'm not saying he's crazy, but just he likes to tweet.
Twitter crazy.
Twitter crazy. So let's perhaps go on the other side because it's going to be in the shade.
So this Whole Foods is still open, but I mean, again, I think that just from observing the Whole Foods in my neighborhood, it seems like they're moving more towards a warehouse fulfillment model than a giant retail location.
And you don't even get, as I understand you're telling me, you order and they may or may not fill your order with what you ordered.
A lot of mistakes.
It's kind of like Russia, the old Soviet Union.
Hit or miss.
Yeah.
Grocery shopping has become catch as catch can, Charles.
Like, I ordered chicken. Well, this is steak.
The most egregious thing is that one time I ordered chicken soup and they sent me vegan chicken soup. I ordered chicken soup and they sent me chick-in. And I was like, what's this? And then I tried it. I was like, wow. And I looked at it and it was fake chicken.
It's like tofu turkey for Thanksgiving.
I don't want that. I mean, that's like sending real chicken to somebody who ordered the fake. I don't want that.
Yeah, you want transparency and honesty. So this is the Bowery.
It's a mess down here.
This is the Bowery, and we'll be able to, once we get down here a little bit, we can go to the right and we can get into Little Italy and Chinatown, and you'll see it's quite busy.
These are all closed, Charles.
Well, yeah, this is a rough neighborhood here. You see what we're coming up to here.
Yeah. Nice breeze. Go a little wide.
That's where we've got into the, we had to run across the street where that ambulance is.
It's quite a stink over here.
Yeah. DeCrazio, you're doing a great job, bud. Give yourself a pat
again,
on the
this is, it's not a matter of him making some kind of mistake. This is, I think, a deliberate effort to completely tank
Thelma
the value
Louise.
of New York.
He's pulling a Thelma and Louise.
He's just driving it off the cliff.
Off the cliff. Release rent. You can move 20 streets.
So here's a vandal in progress.
Yeah, let's not make an
Martial
issue.
arts supply. I wonder if they've hired her to do this. Work in progress.
Yeah. Nice.
That guy's building is all graffitied up. I guess maybe these places are closed on Sunday. This is all restaurant supply places,
Restaurant
right?
supply.
But I mean, aren't they usually open on Sunday?
No.
Okay.
So I made a little discovery, Jason, I want to share with the viewers. I told you we're going to do some details without any slides for a change. So
Is it the cold fusion solution you've been working on,
yes,
Charles?
exactly right.
Excellent.
And also redoing your whole sound and video makeup because I've been
Perfect.
figure I'm wholly qualified to
Actually,
do
wait a
that
minute.
because I can't even turn on my computer. But
That
I
thing.
went and I bought a book called Monica's Story.
All right.
And Monica's Story is written by the fellow who did
Hang on,
Diana's
this
Story.
guy's also
Thank
got a
you.
great idea.
Diana's Story.
Yeah, thanks. We saw you there, lady. You shouldn't be doing that. She's like, hi, almost killed you.
Diana's Story. And so it tells the tale. It obviously has access to Monica Lewinsky. And it no, straight dead ahead here.
What do you think of this?
Walking into it. Yeah.
Donate plasma if you've
Let's
recovered.
get over here.
So Monica's Story.
Monica's Story, yeah. So that book came out in 1999. And it's significant that it came out in 1999 because that's before Rat Rodenstein and James Comey and Mueller investigated the Clinton Foundation from 2001 to 2005. They could have read this book, okay? And this book put some things together for me. First, it is phenomenally embarrassing to the president, discussing the way in which Monica Lewinsky treated the president, frankly.
What do you mean?
I mean, it was just,
Telling him what to do, and
yeah, and she's the first instant she met him. The
she's
first
like
day
20 and she's telling him what to do?
Yeah, well, it has all these admissions and her claims about what the president said to her and back and forth. But the key point is, it doesn't weave in the Clinton Foundation. So when you weave in the Clinton Foundation, on April 12th, this is what I was talking about, these teams of kids on bikes.
Yeah, they're up to something no good.
We will stay far away from them.
Here, look, Charles, for rent by owner.
But you see, look at this company, this is Wilding.
It's like an army.
And they get together and they dare you to get near them, and they go on the sidewalk. They're not supposed to do that. They ride in crazy ways. They threaten cars.
What do you think about this total graffiti bomb on that building?
Horrible.
Now here's
That's
somebody
quite
with
a
a gas-powered bicycle.
This is quite a large number of these. Thank you, Mr. de Blasio, for this. You know, this is not going to end well. So,
Monica, when we weave in the Clinton
yeah, so
Foundation.
on April 12th, 1999, the Clinton Foundation management, trustees, using BKD and a law firm, punched out a version of their first annual report to the IRS, Form 990. We can stay right here. On which the thing is, there's nothing correct on the form, right? They say that the name of the entity is William J. Clinton Presidential Foundation. It's the William J. Clinton Foundation. You go on and on. They say it's the initial return for the entity. The initial return should have been for 1997. They don't capture all the revenue. They improperly capture expenses. They don't talk about conflicts, and on and on and on. That's April 12th. On April 13th, according to Louis Freeh, who did a book,
I don't know if I trust him, though.
well, I know, but then according to the decision itself, which I've read, Susan Weber Wright issued a blistering decision against Bill Clinton, saying that he traveled.
What was she then?
She was a federal judge in Arkansas, and this was a civil complaint.
Susan Rice was a federal
Susan
judge?
Weber Wright. Susan Weber Wright.
Not Rice.
Yeah, we can go this way now. A blistering decision against Bill Clinton that's saying that he he had violated the integrity of the justice system by lying under oath in essence, and he referred his acts for disciplinary action to the Arkansas bar. He was subsequently not disbarred. He relinquished his law license for 5 years.
That's a pretty harsh punishment from the Bar Association, who usually does nothing.
All right, but stay with me. This is April 13th. BKD and the Clinton Foundation had printed out a false, knowingly and materially false, first, in theory, IRS return on the 12th. They sign it on the 13th. They mail it in. It was received to Ogden, Utah on the 9th. So, having been disciplined, seriously disciplined by a federal judge, the team that was running, in quotes, Bill Clinton's foundation decides its first filing with the IRS is going to be fraudulent, right? And why I bring this up is a true investigation of the Clinton Foundation would start at the beginning and say, does the thing even exist? Is it an organization? And key, separate and apart from its creator, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
Right. Which it needs to be.
Yeah, is this entity...
Here. That's perfect.
What?
They're busy arresting gummy bears.
Is the entity sufficiently independent that a political partisan working with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton could be stopped from engaging in naked political acts that are in gross violation of the normal charter of a presidential foundation that's supposed to hold presidential records? And in the first return, you have evidence that they couldn't stop the people, the cronies close to Bill Clinton, from lying on their first return, just at the same time as Bill Clinton was being disciplined by this judge, even as he sat as being president of the United States. What more evidence do you need in 2001 that this thing is a complete fraud, that it's not separate and apart from the Clinton family? It is not a charity. It's a slush fund. In 1998 and 97, the Clintons faced financial ruin. Had they been forced to pay the bills, the accumulated Williams and Connolly and other legal bills that had been mounting since 1992, currently, they'd have to declare bankruptcy. They didn't have the cash to do that. They couldn't borrow the money legitimately. So the reason I need this loan, sir, is I'm engaged in all kinds of criminal activities, and my lawyers won't defend me unless I pay them currently. And if I don't win, I'll go to jail and all will be lost. Now, we could go down further to...
Well, but Charles, perhaps one of the reasons they didn't investigate, you're talking about these naked political acts. I think Bill Clinton was doing those 2-3 times a night. So they just had too much on their plate.
Oh, and I'm telling you, the disclosures in this Monica Story book, which will feature ultimately in materials in a book that I'm working on, are so hideously embarrassing. Because Monica, on the one hand, was a femme fatale who I think, though young, was skilled at manipulating older men. And she knew what she was doing. And there were moments, I think, of great pleasure for her. But the admissions in that book that was published in '99 while Bill was still president are just stunning.
Admissions by who?
She claims that Bill Clinton, when he tried to end the affair, he said, listen, I've been a liar my whole life, and I'm tired of lying. I lie to everybody. I lied to my wife. I've lied to countless mistresses. I want to stop lying. The truth is, the reason he broke up with her May 23rd, 1997 is, I think, 3 or 4 days later, the Supreme Court ruled that the Paula Jones depositions could go forward.
And he didn't want her to be deposed.
Her and the other ones, yeah. He had to get her out of the picture and on side. And he knew, as a guess, through leaky channels, he knew that the decision would prove to be adverse. And it turned out to be 9-0 against the notion that a sitting president could defer prosecution for civil matters indefinitely while he was president. So he loses that 9-0. But you go through, there's admission after admission. And here we have these people, as I said on One American News, we have the very three people who missed what an obvious fraud. They could have squelched this Clinton Foundation. They could have squelched the Clintons in March of 2001. Both of them. Hillary.
Who's they that could have done it?
Rod Rosenstein, James Comey, and Bob Mueller. Let's say by 2002 when...
Yeah, I mean, obviously those guys aren't going to do that.
Well, I think they were selected in their roles to make sure they wouldn't squelch it. I think that the folks who pulled the strings were real happy to have George W. Bush in there, who they felt they could yank his strings, and even happier to have all this dirt on the Clintons, because they then felt, they did run the swamp.
Yeah.
Now you see how busy this is.
Not busy at all. This would be
busier.
packed. Well, comparing it to normal, I mean, again, these restaurants have had to adjust their business practices in that they're not even allowed to offer accommodation to, in many cases, less than half the number of customers that if they're renting these spaces.
And the rents are high.
Right? So the rent hasn't changed.
The rent is too damn high. So if I just hold together the thread there, it is obvious from the body of information that is in the public domain, it is obvious that one of the things that Barack Obama was working so hard to cover up was the degree to which the Clinton Foundation has been used as a laundromat and slush fund, and that Obama, I think, and his team wanted to emulate the Clinton Foundation. They set their foundation up, I think, in 2014 or thereabouts, and they have, true to form, just been copying the Clinton Foundation. The paperwork's all wrong, the purposes are not legitimate, the accounting is not legitimate, and they just saw the Clintons were bankrupt. They admitted themselves they were technically bankrupt.
They said it on the news.
Huh?
Hillary said it to some newscaster
as
part of an explanation for something or other.
Right. And so, and the bill had to work to, meet the family bills.
She was like, as you know, well, I don't know if you know, you would have no reason to know, but we were broke. And it's like...
Right. And now they're worth hundreds of millions.
Right. Who knew that and who cares?
It's just because they're very careful savers, and they're really shrewd investors. There's nothing untoward here.
Shrewd investors in investing in cattle futures for $1,000 or whatever that was.
1,000 turned into 100,000 while she was giving birth to Chelsea.
Charles, some of these restaurants have been here like over 100 years, and I wonder if they've ever seen, this level of...
I wonder if any of these restaurants were here in 1918 when the flu was here, the Spanish flu.
Yeah, well, I would doubt that anybody working there is still there.
No, but I mean...
But some of them have. I mean, they say established, 1900 whatever.
Yeah. This is, I'll show you the restaurant where we had lunch yesterday. A little bit.
How's business? Yeah? I think they're using the positive thinking strategy, but there's no way this could be considered good. There's like 4 people eating there.
Yeah. Well, actually, we have a license plate that we might want to think about buying up here. I'll show you. So yeah, this is definitely quiet. Now, I recall in the olden days that Little Italy tended to be quiet on Sunday because people went to church. But
yeah, but church is over by now. People will be out having late
strict religious
lunch.
Christians don't do anything on Sunday. But maybe there are very few of them left.
I mean, they just look smashed, closed, and underutilized.
So now we're getting into the heart of old Little Italy.
Yeah, so Charles, I don't know if I told you this, but additional videos are getting struck on Crowdsource the Truth.
Good.
The social engineers are doing everything they possibly can to try to get me deplatformed in the run-up to the election here, because they know that that would disrupt you, that would disrupt all the other guests, that would disrupt me, disrupt my ability to keep broadcasting and earn a living and stuff.
I think it's important for people to subscribe and Subscribestar and Patreon and other ways, and maybe important for us to try to figure other channels as well.
And I've been doing that, actually. I've been giving it some thought. I'm going to get back to, trying to podcast the audio of what we do. It adds a lot of work. I mean, that's what these guys want to do. They want every little thing they do, they want it to add effort for me to make it harder and harder to do what we do all the time. It really makes me sad, Charles, to see all these mostly empty restaurants.
Yeah.
This is active salesmanship there. Oh, that's not supposed to be allowed. A dog up on the table eating food.
Yeah.
Everything, society is deteriorating, Charles.
It is. It is. So you see that gift store over there has some interesting license plates. We'll catch it on the way back up.
So they've really blocked off the streets to dedicate it to restaurants
Right.
down here, which is, I mean, again, that's good for the summertime. Oh, that's an empty police car.
Probably eating lunch.
I think it's just there to prevent traffic so that the restaurants can use the street. But it's good that they're helping the restaurants, but I mean, these are still close to empty. Baked clams look good.
So this is the restaurant we ate at this table right here where the lady is.
Looks delicious.
It is pretty good. Good meal yesterday.
How's business?
Not bad, yeah.
All right, have a nice Sunday.
Did you notice, Charles, that every single person, people maybe haven't seen their facial expressions, but when I ask them how's business, they say, "Yay, good." I mean, I think they're happy to be here at all and back in business,
That's right. You see somebody on crutches, how are you feeling? Yeah, I'm fine.
but exactly.
Could have been worse.
Right.
So I figure here we'll make a right on Canal.
Sure.
Here's a fixer-upper, Jason.
The
This one here?
this,
Yeah.
I know.
It's a little work.
Charles, it's such a wreck around here. Oh, look, there's two cops. What are they
That's
doing?
probably their car, 3 cops. Shaking down people.
Yeah, for what?
I don't know.
How could this guy be a cop?
But this is a restaurant owner. Actually, what happened, I think, is that guy, I recognize him as another restaurant owner. I bet you the people ate and left.
Man,
Let's get
could
in.
you imagine?
Yeah. Let's get in the shade.
Yeah, this is definite explode the camera weather right here.
Can we make it a block?
Yeah, well, we'll try.
You can get some shirts here.
Nah.
That's the Joe Biden campaign model.
Yeah. It's a very popular one.
That's right. Very insightful.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, this is a real roasty
We can go up
part
Baxter.
of town.
I think Baxter is Chinese. This'll
How's
be shady.
business? How's it going? That guy doesn't want to talk, so I mean, I'm feeling like that's not a good sign. I mean, I know the answer to that question.
If your business is losing money, it's doing great. I mean,
What do you mean?
well, if you have no customers and you got all your costs, you're losing money. So
Right. That's what I mean. I don't even really need to ask.
why do you?
Well, I'm just curious to see what people's response will be. The Dough Club is still making donuts. And this might be the quietest street in all of Chinatown that I'm
all
aware
of
of.
Manhattan.
That's weird.
Drop into the Vitality Spa.
Now, Charles, let's check this out for a second.
What?
Like, I don't know if people fully appreciate how actually culturally Chinese Chinatown is. You can really get the sense of being transported to China.
How?
I mean, I don't know, like, you know, those kind of like small shopping malls that fill like one office building in Asia where it's like,
All right.
I mean, they have those down here and like nowhere else in the city. And it's just like a very kind of Asian feeling.
You want to go?
I might as well head back in the direction we're heading, right? I mean, we're just
All
sort
right.
of
I think that's gonna.
moseying around. Is that, no?
Yeah, it's fine.
So Letitia James, she's got this lawsuit where she's deliberately coming right out and saying she wants to dismantle the NRA.
And that's going to, as I said on multiple platforms, I mean, that's going to energize the Trump-supporting, Second Amendment-loving people. I mean, to say that what you want to defund the police
And get rid of guns.
and take guns away from lawfully, law-abiding gun owners is a message that, frankly, before you get to the idea of taking away guns from the law-abiding, 80% of African Americans do not want to defund the police.
I saw 81, yeah.
So, I mean,
They want more funding, they said, in that
Of
study.
course, because, it's one thing to be living in your penthouse apartment on Park Avenue and summering out in Southampton and talking about how the police are evil. It's another thing to be living in the ghetto and to hear gunfire all night
Outside your place, in the hallway.
and the cops don't go there because I don't think they're afraid, but
I think they might be.
they're afraid that that the narrative will be spun against them.
Yeah, they're going to get arrested for doing their job. Oh, look where we are, Charles.
Yeah, your favorite place.
We're back at the Oddfellows place.
Exactly. Woolim Spa.
Right. And then, but also, this is, see, it says right there, Charles, police department. Can you see that?
Yeah, that used to be, I think, one of the main police department buildings.
Well, I mean, I wonder if it wasn't the full police department itself. And then, I mean, again, the question that I've had is, it's sort of interesting that that's the police department and here's this contemporary building that is the Oddfellows, because what I'm getting at is it seems like Derek Chauvin in Minnesota is working for the police and the Oddfellows.
You want to go up that way?
So yeah, so what's the connection between these? Whoa.
I don't know.
See, and all these people drive in from New Jersey and they think they're driving on the turnpike. They go like 50 miles an hour around these streets.
Yeah, actually in New York City, the speed limit is 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, those people didn't get the memo.
Yeah, well, perhaps they can't read. This seems kind of aggressive. Doesn't seem like a temporary seating space.
Huh. It also doesn't seem like anybody's utilizing it.
Own Eels.
Yeah, that's a strange name. I don't know, Charles. I don't know how much longer I can...
Hang out here?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would want to leave New York City, but I'm really like not enjoying being here. And none of the things about the city that used to exist are still here. Like, I used to have no fear about walking around really anywhere at any time of the day or night. I literally would, leave a friend's party or something at 1 or 2 in the morning and I could walk from, 80th Street to my apartment without giving it a second thought. And now I'm reluctant to go outside during the middle of the day.
Well, I think you've aged and acquired even more common sense.
Nah, that wasn't it. I mean, it was not unsafe prior to, March.
Yeah.
See, now that looks like graffiti art to me.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. I don't know what
I mean, even if we don't like it, it obviously takes skill and
big city of dreams. Sort of nothing wrong with that.
maybe it used to be. Now
Get
it's
up
more
there
like
and do bad dreams.
City of Nightmares. That's a pretty intense BMW.
It is indeed.
Well, a lot of people are speculating about what
Which way do you want to go?
Trump might have been talking about with this "you won't see me" for a while. Where do we want to go?
We can go. I don't think we've been up Cleveland.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't think I'm even aware of Cleveland or have
Well,
stepped foot on it in my entire time living
It's
here.
a good segue because last week in Cleveland and in Miami, FBI conducted raids on
Right.
holdings of the oligarch involved with the Privatbank in Ukraine, where it is rumored $1 billion went missing.
Zlochevsky or something?
Yeah. And
He had holdings in Cleveland, Ohio?
the theory went that they had looted money in Ukraine and taken a portion to invest in the U.S. in real estate.
But I mean, isn't Les Wexner all up into Cleveland, Ohio?
Columbus.
Oh. Hey, look at that, Charles.
What?
This is kind of a cool, I like this graffiti art. Save us, Superman. He's got toilet paper on his chest. So Cleveland, Ohio, they raided.
The FBI did, and Giuliani has been very quiet for weeks and months now, where he was quite noisy for a while, saying that something was going to happen, and the speculation is that finally, after years or multiple months anyway, Durham and others are finally on the move. Is the hope.
Whoop. No, that's right. Thought it might have been something useful. It's just some piece of trash dropped out of that woman's
I saw that.
bag. Well, and then what about this thing that I think Fabian sent this morning from Gateway pundits saying that somebody told Brennan that he's not the focus of the Durham thing?
I don't see that as being possible. I mean, I think Brennan has been up to bad activities for his entire life.
It's true.
And the way I understand these investigations work is they start at the bottom, they turn people, they keep going towards the top, and it's crystal clear that Brennan was centrally involved in one incident where the firm he was working for before he became National Security Advisor or National Security Council, whatever he was, he investigated the personnel files, lifted the personnel files of Barack Obama and other senators.
And changed something about him, right?
We don't know. May have changed them, yeah. And so that's deeply suspicious. The way in which he was confirmed is suspicious. The activities that happened under his watch when he was head of the CIA is suspicious. And a lot of the work that the Clinton Foundation was doing, the illegal distribution of adulterated drugs and other crazy projects around the world, had to be known to the CIA, unless the CIA is like the SEC, just watching porn, which may be the case.
Yes, it may. I've been very unimpressed with the CIA employees who I've met so far.
Exactly. So now we're headed back uptown. And you can see that we've, I think, walked through here before, but still pretty run down. On the weekend, this would be bustling.
Charles, if you didn't know this was New York City and you came to a place that had this much graffiti and, wood boarding up closed businesses, wouldn't you be like, this place is shitholi, I'm not coming back?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it has good music.
Right.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
That's this place, Wild Fang.
Doing well. Hey,
the comeback is always better than the setback.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're still being set back.
How about the throwback?
I don't know.
Yeah, so this used to be hip. It's Prince Street. My God, this is fancy territory and not much going on. So did I tell you there's one uplifting thing.
We need it.
The Trump team is working on this infomercial campaign. What's worse than COVID-19?
What?
Biden 20.
That is good. That is good.
We could do that in like 5 seconds on Twitter.
A lot of fire department activity today, Charles.
That's right. I don't know.
Whoa, here they are. Holy cow, what's going on?
I don't know. Never a good sign. We have.
Is this place on fire?
He's got to be hot.
I don't know, it doesn't seem to be on fire.
I think they're looking for those guys. It's trucks over there as well. Let's go one over just in case there is a fire.
Whoa, there's a lot of trucks up there.
Well, look at the gear they have to wear in this heat. You give me a hard time wearing a jacket. They're wearing.
Well, I mean, you're not going to put out a fire, are you?
And here's somebody playing a shovel.
Wow, that's creative. Did you make this musical instrument? No? I'm impressed by that, Charles.
Impressive.
But he didn't want to talk.
Not much of a talker, that guy.
No.
Not much of a talker, the llama.
No.
You know the line, right? From Caddyshack.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that line. Oh look, these guys are waiting, I think, to serve some food. Everybody's standing around and, I mean, not doing the type of business that they would normally do. Oh, maybe those guys are waiting to eat food.
So now we're on Broadway. This is much busier than it was the last time we were here.
That's true.
Maybe let's go in this way and
Sure. Let's see if people have anything to say to us in the comments. Oops. It looks like there's a butt-dialed comment by me waiting to go out.
Is it favorable?
It was like, why, exclamation point. Uh-oh.
What?
It looks like perhaps the show ended and it's not playing anymore. Let me see here. Maybe just a lot of things got pushed while I was in the pocket. Okay, still going. Okay, hello everybody. Masks on zombies, people are saying.
You could go on the other side of the street, get away from all these people.
So I think it's interesting for people to just see the activity in general, see who's around, see who's wearing masks. Hi, Laura. Laura says hi, Jason and Charles.
Hey, Laura. Where is Laura?
I don't know, on the chat there.
Oh, let's go down
Sure.
and then up the side street into the park.
We're still live, yes. I need to oogle more with the camera.
Oogle?
People want me to oogle more babes. That's Span Man says that. Well, I don't know that everybody's interested
Isn't
in
that
that.
pronounced ogle?
It might be ogle. It might be oogle. It depends.
It's not Google.
Now, what is this Aveeno Autumn Outpost?
Aveeno.
How's the shirt business treating you?
Okay,
Yeah?
how's the camera business?
Pretty
$40?
good. I'm not relying on people walking up to me and buying things. So from that standpoint,
$40 a shirt,
for a shirt.
t-shirt.
But I mean, wasn't that sort of a confrontational response? I'm asking him a serious question.
It's New York.
I was going to say, yeah, that guy was an example of a New York wise ass. I mean, I'm curious to know how the city is
I
evolving.
think it's safe to say it's down.
Right.
Thank you.
There's a lot of people definitely driving in Manhattan who don't seem to have. This is Washington State. This person does not know what they're doing. I saw somebody from Missouri before, Charles.
The show me state.
Well, but I mean, what are people doing coming and visiting New York right now?
And how
Whoops,
come
sorry.
How come they're not in quarantine? They're from Missouri.
I don't know. Right. You're supposed to be 14 days quarantine. Maybe they've been here for 15 days.
We'll have to put them in prison with Michael
But also,
Cohen.
one of the guys sitting at that restaurant was just totally oogling you, Charles.
Me?
Checking you out, looking you up and down.
That's not a good.
Looked like he had some sinister plot in mind. I'm pretty sure this is the Apple computer store. Yeah. And look, that's the temperature icon that shows up on the phone when it overheats.
Are you with him? Love it.
So these people are waiting to bum rush the Apple store. I saw an announcement, Charles, the iPhone 12 will be delayed.
Really?
I guess.
Is that because there's not enough slave labor in?
I mean, yeah, I suppose disruptions due to COVID-19. They said it was originally supposed to come out September, and now it's going to be October.
What year?
I guess this year.
So this used to be very run down 20, 30 years ago, but now was prime real estate. And the lease rates are incredibly high, but
I
seems
think
like
that might be changing.
that could be changing soon.
Yeah, there's a mix of office space galleries and high-end retail stuff down here, and apartments.
I think maybe what we should do, if the UN insists on staying in New York, why don't we move them into the worst neighborhoods of New York and then knock down all those buildings and put up condos?
I just don't appreciate the UN, the fact that they think they have the ability to like intervene and exert their influence over the United States. I mean, that alone is grounds for them to be kicked out. Look at Pomegranate Gallery, that's boarded up.
Yep. All we need is love. No, I think you need the money to pay the rent. And you didn't have that.
You know, I also saw this interview, who was it? Oh, it was Yahoo News, which is obviously an impeccable source of information if you want urination dossiers. But they were interviewing Bill Gates, asking him what he would do if he was the president. And I mean, everything that he would do is based on a foregone conclusion that has yet to be scientifically proven. You know, he would force everybody to wear masks. He would, you know, basically make everybody get the vaccine.
Well, do you see Anthony Fauci said that...
Yeah, he said you got to listen to Anthony Fauci.
Well, but then Fauci said that the vaccine could be no more effective than 50 to 60%. I mean, that is not effective. 50 to 60% means 40 to 50% of the people either are neutral or even potentially mortal, negative.
I don't know that it means that. It just means that 40 or 50% or more will not be inoculated by it, and then you're also being exposed to potential side effects. So the other thing that comment is worth evaluating in the context of is the fact that 98% of people just get better by themselves when they have it. So how does a 50% thing, how does that even come into the conversation? I don't understand.
Well, it's just, I mean, if the calculation is you want to make sure that...
Should we do this or wait?
No.
Yeah.
If the calculation is you want to make sure that, you know, several billion doses of a vaccine
get sold
where you get a slice of the profit or the revenue, then, you know, you definitely want to push the vaccine. So here's a whole new New York University, I think, complex.
Oh, is that NYU? That makes sense.
Well, it could be fact, it could be housing.
Housing. Because no one's going to rent that. But even NYU is just going to be, every college now, Charles, is the University of Phoenix online.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going well. I think I read that 20% of the entering class at Harvard, freshman class, is elected to defer and not go. 20%.
Whoa, well, what do you mean? To study from home or just to not go to Harvard?
Not go at all, take a year off and not pay anything.
I would do that too.
So if I had an 18 or 19-year-old kid who got into Harvard and was going to go, I'd say absolutely travel the world. You know, to do something
Well, you can't do that now.
Okay, travel to Tenafly.
Exactly. Walk to New Jersey and tell me if you get a Q-tip shoved up your ass on the way back. It's so bad, Charles. All we can do is laugh.
Yeah.
Now, this place, almost definitely going to go. And these were things that were already out, like Art House. Angelica Film Center is the type of place that up-and-coming filmmakers could book their movies into for premieres and stuff like that.
I went to one once.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there several times.
There's a movie about Biden.
The Orange Beast of Heresy?
No, The Dumb. It says The Climb.
Oh, it says The Climb. Oh, yeah. I don't know. But I mean, you know, when we lose unique businesses like that.
No, I wouldn't want to bring up that one. What is that? Do I read that correctly? Is that about Hillary?
The First Cow? Yeah. Point I'm getting at, Charles, is these types of unique businesses, it's what makes the city have character, right? I mean, if it's just a giant Whole Foods, Amazon.com, Dwayne Reed, Target place,
or a giant plywood board repository.
Right. Oh wow, this place has been here forever. Gonzalez y Gonzalez.
Is it good?
I mean, I don't even know. This was a place that if you were 19 and at NYU, you could buy beer.
So it's good.
And I haven't been there since then.
So it's good unless you're a parent, in which case it's bad.
Yeah.
Now you, of course, waited until you were 21 to have your first drink.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've heard that place was selling beer. I don't know.
This actually is a decent bookstore, used bookstore.
Was this Shakespeare?
No. It's a funny little bookstore. I guess a lot of students end up selling their books back, and
Yeah, and see, it's like little
Old-fashioned.
quaint little businesses like this that give a neighborhood character that as more of them go out of business because of these heartless giant corporations, the neighborhood loses character to some extent, the city loses character to some extent, and it just starts to become this like empty shell.
And here DeCrazio came up with this brilliant idea in the summer. Let's put garbage out on Friday to be picked up the ensuing week so that the rats can tear into the bags, you know. And
Spread disease.
I mean, I'm not a manager, like an operational manager of anything, but I bet you in a week
You'd have the city running better.
Well, if you had authority to make some rather draconian moves.
Yeah, I could do it too. You just say, okay, police, you're back in the business of arresting people for doing crimes.
You defund the bureaucracy.
Right.
And you'd have to change the teacher union a lot. You'd have to look at staffing levels and salaries. You'd have to look at the tax system.
Charles, somebody else had a story saying that laws specific to New York, the mayor cannot be impeached. He can only be removed by the governor.
Well, that would be great.
But he's not doing it, obviously, and I mean that means that we, the people of the city, don't have
We're
a
stuck
means.
to this guy. Well, what could happen, and this is in the dream scenario, and I'm not, wild about the person I'm now going to call out positively, but should Trump win, which is possible, should
I hope.
the House actually flip to Republicans? I know this is very different than we were talking about an hour ago or so, and should we increase or hold our position in the Senate, then you could imagine a scenario where Donald Trump Jr. or perhaps Eric Trump decides to run for governor in New
Wow.
York and to make New York great again.
That would be a really good
Yeah.
idea. I'd vote for Donald Trump Jr. over
Yeah, over Tish
Cuomo.
James.
Oh yeah, any of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is a scenario, a hopeful scenario for New York, but the impact of it would not be felt for 3 to 4 years, if
Right.
that soon.
Right.
Because you got so many people moving out, you got so many illicit liabilities crystallizing.
We could go through.
Let's go to the Washington Square Park.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Now, the other thing is, Charles, a lot of people, that is to say virtually no one, will know that this building was where I started my computer animation. Well, not
This building
exactly,
here?
but I don't think, yeah, this is.
Where's the plaque? Another plaque.
Exactly. This is the NYU math building or something, and they
Really?
used to have Silicon Graphics computers in there before they had their interactive technology program. Yeah, Warren Weaver Hall. I don't know who Warren Weaver is, but
That's a while back, Jason. I mean, that was early days for that stuff.
this was 1991 I'm talking about.
Yeah, early days. Well, the IBM personal computer came out in '89.
Yeah, this was Silicon Graphics computers, 1991. My first ever knowledge of and viewing of the internet was in that building, and we were studying alias wavefront software.
If you say so.
Or maybe it was just Alias at that time, and then it became Alias Wavefront, and now it's Maya. But that was happening in that building. And now we're back
Skateboarding.
to the NYU Stern School of Business. Yeah, I mean, these guys have set up a whole little skate park here where they're ready to launch off of this and injure people on the sidewalk.
And themselves.
Well, I don't mind about them injuring themselves, but obviously anyone who has,
Well, I have to tell you a story.
okay,
In 76, there were 12 residential colleges at Yale, and each college had a reputation. Mine was called Timothy Dwight College, and it was basically alumni kids and athletes. And it was a frat house. I mean, it was wild all the time. And the master, they don't call them masters anymore, obviously.
Oh, well,
but the master of Timothy Dwight was a guy called, the name will come to me in a second, but he was a wild man. He was through parties. He encouraged it. And a number of these football players had motorcycles. So they got drunk one night, and they decided it would be fun to see how fast they could run their motorcycles into the front door of the dining hall.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. And so I went to sleep at a certain hour. I sleep pretty heavily, but I heard a loud noise and I thought nothing of it. And I went down, stumbled into breakfast, and it was like one of these cartoon strip things. You know, you get to the door frame and there's a cutout of a motorcycle and the guy pierced the door frame.
Wow.
So I thought that was hysterical, and I was in line behind this older couple who are like making all these nasty comments. It's outrageous, we have to stop this. And it was the incoming master who was replacing the party animal. And he wrote he was a classics professor, and he wrote an op-ed piece for the Yale Daily News stating that he intended to run Timothy Dwight College like a Greek polis, which is a certain strictly run city-state. And so anyway, that skateboarding, you know, that's 2020. Motorcycles through the front door in 1976. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I just don't like those guys because they're going to go skating off of that thing and crash into some person who
Of course. That's how they roll.
is likely to get injured.
You want to go?
Sure. Oh, look, we've got somebody interviewing with a crew here.
Let's not stop them.
No.
Just walk by them. I don't want to get into a.
Seems very HBO, sort of Vice-ish.
Right.
That's an interesting setup they had there, Charles.
They're asking her questions about the book, and they're saying she's reading as porn.
That seemed like a dramatic narrative. She seemed to be acting, and they had a cell phone and a higher quality camera.
Could be a demonstration. You want to
Yeah,
get
it looks
close
like
to it or not?
Well, let's go check it out. We've got the fountain running. Let's approach from, is that open? Can we go in that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just check out what's going on with the fountain. And I mean, again, the evolution of the park, right? People can kind of see
You
what's going
sit
on.
there and you're like, keep America great. Oh, sorry, I mean, Black Lives.
Yeah. I don't know that I've noticed all of these things before.
Yeah.
This is new. This is a dog run for small dogs.
There's a big dog run down
That's
there.
new, that small dog run, isn't it?
That's right. You don't want to be the small dog in a nation of
In
big
a big
dogs.
pond, right. Well, it seems a bit more
More
calm.
crowded. Now, I don't know if that could actually not be a Black Lives Matter protest. We'll see in a second. Could be, they have these acrobats and stuff who get together as well.
Right, that's sort of the more normal activity of the park in the summertime.
And
Here,
we have
Span
Hare
Man will be
Krishna.
pleased.
So, you know, when you go to India and if you do your research, you realize that Hare Krishna is completely fake.
It is? What is it supposed to be and what is it actually?
It came in, I forget when they started. It's not
Oh,
a
look,
thing.
now that says NYC Parks personnel only. Why did that take so long to say that?
I don't know.
So they don't want people taking up residence in the fountain. I can't say I'm surprised.
Very different scene than when we had the Black Lives Matter protests.
Well, but this is what it's supposed to be like. People having fun and walking around with their kids and their dogs and
Yeah, this is
doing magic shows and stuff. That sounds like what we have
yeah,
going
so
on
this
here.
is- Well, I guess it is Black Trans Lives Matter.
Where is that?
Black boys can do ballet. Let's get.
Oh, here we go.
Let's go this way. And here's somebody with a bullhorn. Several with bullhorns.
Where you want to go?
Oh, let's just walk over. What time is it now? Is it?
It's 4:45, Charles.
Yeah, let's wind it up maybe.
Systems
Go down.
have been cooperating. Weather has been
Amble over to
cooperating.
7th Avenue, and I'll
Well, what else do we want to cover?
Well, this is going to be a pretty big week. We have bumbling Biden has to leave his basement, somehow make his way to some bigger studio to accept his nomination speech. There's all kinds of negotiations back and forth. Who's going to be giving major speeches at the Democrat, or Demon Rat, as I like to call it, National Non-Convention. Supposedly,
Did they diss AOC?
Yeah, supposedly Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are going to have starring roles. Let's cut this way. Unless you want to go.
I was just keeping my eye on that guy who started moving while we. Nah, he's doing something else. So they're worried about who's going to speak.
Yeah, and the Demon Rat.
Oh, look at that, Charles. We got a whole band down there.
That tends to be there on Sunday. Yeah, piano. They don't seem to be social distancing. That's what we want in the park. That's not social distancing, though.
That's what we want also.
Non-social distancing?
Well, just dancing, having fun, playing music. This is what a park is for. This is what the summer is for.
Jason, you got it all wrong. You're supposed to be miserable.
Right.
You're supposed to give all your shit to the government and be miserable. This is like the homeless redistribution point.
Yeah, it's something, we chose the wrong path, I believe, Charles.
Yeah. Walk the
Do they have chess games over here as well?
They do, yeah.
No, that looks like cards.
They got cards, they have chess as well.
It's a little bit
we've shown quite a distribution of activity here in New York City today on the 9th of August, 2020.
You know, I tell you, Charles, the energy is, you don't get it anywhere else. But it's been infiltrated by something bad.
That's a nice cool breeze, huh?
It is.
So what will...
Did you catch that, dude?
Are you going to go up Greenwich, or are you going to...
That was like the Wolf Man. Did you see that guy?
Yeah. Not a Gillette commercial.
Now, is Bobo still here, Charles?
I believe it's right here. It's probably not open.
That's a fancy place that can't possibly...
It's a pain in the ass place.
I agree. The maitre d' is the biggest jerk I've ever dealt with in a restaurant.
You go into the restaurant in the summer and there's nobody there, and it's 6:30, and they say, "Oh yeah, we'll have a table at 11:15, but you have to eat in the cigar zone or some."
Yeah, very rude.
Bullshit.
I went to a restaurant for the first time in 5 months, I think, on Thursday night.
McDonald's? Or?
No, I haven't been to a McDonald's in
you lie.
long
I
time.
know, you're a binge McDonald eater, I know.
Definitely no.
But you're wasting a lot of money on TV ads, that's for sure.
Who is, McDonald's?
McDonald's, non-stop ads.
I haven't really watched TV either, so I don't know.
So I'll walk with you to Greenwich and Christopher, and then I'll make a left. Let you meander home. Is that your Mercedes?
No, but I do think that's a new one. They've just totally redesigned that G Series Mercedes, and that looks like one of the new ones.
Absurdly expensive piece of garbage. And why would you spend, what do those things cost, like $100 or?
I don't know, a lot for sure. Look, Charles, this place is closed. Wasn't this also a Dwayne Reed?
It was either that or some other kind of, let's stay on this side.
It's either Walgreens or Dwayne Reed.
This is a funny diner. Have you ever been in here?
I mean, throughout the years, yes, but not for...
Yeah, it's fun. There are various music studios around here, so if you ever go in there late at night, there'll be all kinds of crazy people in there who just finished cutting a record or whatever. A lot of aspiring actors. The food is, if you're just hungry and you want a lot of food for not a lot of money, it's not bad.
But there are a lot of businesses around here that are closed as well.
Well, right up the street, the next two things used to be in business, now they're not. They used to be a thing, now they're used to be a thing. Actually, this is 3 in a row. One?
I mean, I'm telling
two?
you.
Is it 3 or 4 in a row?
Well, it's 3, and then this big restaurant.
I've never been in this place, and I've been in this area.
It's constantly changing. It's obviously an expensive place and difficult to keep it going, but I mean, there's just so much available commercial
Ancient history,
space.
like the Democratic Party. There's a Barnes & Noble site that's been like that for 5 years.
Yeah.
Across the street on 8th Street.
I met Sting in that bookstore 20-something years ago. 30-something years. Yeah, he
What was he doing in there?
came out with a book of like some artist made art of his different albums or whatever, and he was in there signing the book. He was
And
friendly.
then what'd you say to him? Like, don't you have a real name?
Just said hi.
Yeah.
Get him to sign the book and shook my hand, and that was it. I don't think you'd ever get a celebrity shaking people's hands again, Charles.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to shake hands.
Stay in the shade?
Sure.
This also used to be a pretty good place.
I haven't been in here, but I
Pretty
have
good.
admired
Pretty
it.
good
It's
pizzas.
nice and it's crowded, and the pasta looks real good.
Yeah, and the pizza's good. Well, Jason, I think
Ooh.
I'm gonna.
That's an ankle twister right there, Charles.
That would not work for you. I'll give you a step over here.
Sure. Now, briefly, Charles, before we depart, what is that tower there? That's the library, but wasn't
Jefferson
it?
Market Library, and it used to be a courthouse, and the park used to be a women's prison. And when I moved in here,
Prison?
Prison for women. And I remember as a child, the mother or father would walk. There used to be various stores that we go to, and I'd be walking, and I remember the prison were women yelling down to their children on the street,
Wow.
and then they knocked it down.
A
And
prison inside Manhattan.
Right there.
I guess the only one that remains is that MCC where Epstein did not kill himself.
yeah, the assisted living center. So to
All right.
speak.
Well,
anyway.
Charles, another great Sunday with Charles.
I'll give you the.
My hand is super sweaty.
It's all right. It's fine. I'll give you your-
So Wednesday we'll be back. We
Yes,
do
we
have a
will.
guest lined up.
No, we don't. Remember, he would push that person back for a week.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll work something out. And I'll see you then, Charles.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Get home safe.
Thank you. Take care. All right, there we go, everybody. So now, let's just put Charles's microphone in my pocket here. We'll keep this going on the walk, just in case anything wild happens or interesting. I got so many wires sticking out of my pockets now. So we can see there's a lot of delivery going on. I think that guy works for Amazon or Whole Foods, or they're sort of the same thing now. And boy, it's tiring to walk around for 2 hours. This guy, he doesn't have the light and he's charging right up. I think I might have left Charles's microphone. There we go. Was scratching around in my pocket. No, I think it's not. I don't know. Okay. So let's see what the comments have to say on the walk home. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. For people who don't yet know, the Jason Goodman channel is under strike. So, yeah, tune in on Crowdsource the Truth 2 on YouTube. Subscribe. That way you won't miss the live streams. You can also become a subscriber and a sponsor on subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. That helps me a lot when people do that. Helps keep the shows coming. This is the library that Charles was talking about. I did not know that about a women's prison. Charles has so much knowledge of New York City history. It's fun to walk around and hear those stories. Disheartening to see how many businesses continue to fail despite the phase, whatever phase we're up to here of opening. I mean, so many of these businesses are closed. Smash the like button. Yes, thank you, Chicky Rogue. Rhubarb, rhubarb, rhubarb. I don't think I get it. Yeah, people are saying if you were me, you'd be leaving. That's definitely something that I want to do, but I've got a lot of stuff, I should say, a bunch of stuff, a lot of stuff. Okay, so Sammy's finally has put up paper. It's looked like it was closed for the past several weeks, but now, I mean, I think that's clear. It's closed. I mean, that is, and they got ads in the window, so I think the real estate company is probably doing that. Oh man, this was a little gift store that was here forever. So that whole retail area is out. Sammy's Noodles has been a Chinese restaurant since I went to NYU, so that's been there 30 years. I mean, we're seeing economic devastation in neighborhoods throughout the city. Lower East Side, West Village, Chelsea over here, coming up. It's just not good. And I mean, de Blasio, he's saying, oh, well, we'll buy up all these vacant hotels and make low-income housing, but that's not going to be something that's going to convince businesses to want to come back to New York City and increase the tax base. That's turning New York into a socialist haven. My opinion on Trump's new stimulus package. I got to say, I haven't really evaluated it close enough. I do see that we've got annoying social engineers in the chat who I've asked many times to go away. The silent feline continues to be an annoyance. Why would you want to be somewhere where you're not wanted? Causing trouble. Yeah, so all these places, space available, 2 in a row, 3 in a row. What will happen to my beloved New York? Exactly, Dark Hostess. They're making New York City into one giant slum, which is going to need billions of support from the federal government. I mean, what do I think about it? In a general sense, I think this concept of like printing and giving out money while you're forcing people to not run their businesses is a terrible idea. I mean, you know, I'm not a financial genius. I'm not like a stock, you know, Charles knows about all kinds of financial things that I have no idea about. I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to that stuff. I'm into creating businesses where I make things and do things and create entertainment and programs that are interesting and informative that people want to watch. And this is why I've always said that in the case of Crowdsource the Truth, the product is the show. And if you watch the show and like the show, become a sponsor for a low dollar amount per month, and that keeps the show going. All these people who want to encourage me to put all the videos for free on YouTube, I'd be done already if I had done that. And the other thing that a lot of people tell me is, oh, get on BitChute and get on brand new tube. But the funny thing is, I'm on all of those platforms, and if the people who are telling me to go on them don't know that I'm there, how would people who don't know about those platforms realize I'm there? And it's just a demonstration at how poor the reach is on those platforms. And by the way, a lot of those are also run by people who also want to control the message and control the narrative. I think that BitChute is pretty good. I've actually had a limited amount of communication with the guy who created BitChute, and he seems like somebody who's doing the right thing and wants to do the right thing. But now this brand new tube, a lot of people have been telling me to get onto brand new tube. I got some questions about that. It seems very, very focused on Sean Atwood. He's like the star of that. And his newest friend, Ryan Dawson, who I think Ryan's done some really interesting reporting. I don't know him, I've never spoken to him, but it seems like Sean Atwood has definitely kind of latched on to Ryan Dawson, and Sean Atwood is sort of trying to do a lot of coverage of Jeffrey Epstein, and I just noticed that he's live streaming on brand new tube, and When you go there, his videos pop up a lot. But the thing that's weird is when I tried to post a video about Dr. Judy Mikovits on brand new tube, it wouldn't post it, and it just said unknown error or undefined, something like that. So, you know, I took the video out of my iPad and tried to upload it, and it said, no, it's got to be under 1 gigabyte. And it was like 900 megabytes, so I thought maybe that was too close to the edge. So I transcoded it to about 600 megabytes, and it still wouldn't load on there. So then they have a function where you can import stuff from YouTube, so I tried that, and that still wouldn't work. So then I went to Crowdsource the Truth 2 and used that YouTube import link, and that also wouldn't work. So I tried like 5 or 6 different ways. I'm usually very good at outsmarting computers at, you know, real errors of that nature, you know, changing the file size, using a different duplicate file, using a different input source. These types of things are usually good ways to get around those kind of computer problems, but this persisted, couldn't put it on there. So I have a feeling that they don't want videos about Dr. Judy Mikovits on brand new tube, and I think that means that it's not this censorship-free platform that they want us to think that it is. It seems much more to me like a platform that's catering to Sean Atwood and other people who he might approve of, like, you remember that fake doctor that he was promoting, and, you know, I haven't gotten into this too much on air, but Sean and I had some words about that, and I did not agree with his position on promoting that individual, so he and I haven't spoken too much since then. But I don't know. I looked into who the officers of that brand new tube thing are, and it is out of England, which is fine, but it's basically at this accountant's office that looks like it's somebody's house in a neighborhood, and it just seems like a strange place for a company that wants to challenge YouTube to be. I don't think a small little thing like that could effectively challenge YouTube. If it's just intended to host Sean Atwood's videos, then perhaps that's a different story. But what are the other ones? What are the other ones? Well, Brighteon, that's run by Mike Adams, who coincidentally was also promoting that fake doctor with the fake Harvard sweatshirts, who, when I called him out, stopped wearing the Harvard sweatshirts. But both of those two guys didn't seem to think there was any problem with a doctor threatening to beat me up and using foul language and promoting all this fear-mongering with COVID-19. All those guys seemed very aware that there was going to be a second wave. Modell's selling everything, including the fixtures. Selling down to the carpet. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other thing that's happening is that there's a lot of promotion going on of this lawsuit against YouTube. Now that's interesting. It's primarily reporting coming from Mike Cernovich, and the lawyer who's representing Benjamin Owen against Patreon is Mark Randazzo, who, coincidence, I'm sure, Randazzo was representing Cernovich when he attempted to intervene in Gaffes v. Dershowitz, where, remember, Alan Dershowitz said he doesn't know Mike Cernovich, etc. At least Stranahan made a number of points that Cernovich had said he was suing Jeffrey Epstein, but in fact, Lee interpreted what he was doing as actually an action against the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. So there's some screwy business going on with Mike Cernovich, and I mean, he's encouraging people to sue Patreon. I haven't gotten very into what the beef with Owen Benjamin is, or what he did or whatever, but you know, now they seem to want to destroy Patreon, or try to destroy Patreon, or convince people that they're somehow destroying Patreon. I don't know. Something's happening to my microphone here. I think there's a lot of investment in Patreon, and people aren't about to let it get destroyed that quickly, and I certainly hope it doesn't get destroyed. I'm relying on it for my income. And if anybody has any concerns about Patreon, you can switch your sponsorship to subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth. And I'm just kind of vamping here, so if people are interested in seeing what businesses on 6th Avenue remain open, it's not many. Retail for lease, right across the street there. Yeah, I even saw bank branches closing. I was surprised by that. Uh-oh, I'm on low battery here on the phone. Well, that's all right. We're over 2 hours. I don't want it to end abruptly, but there's still a small amount left. Now, that thing over there is the Limelight. People will remember that was a church that became a nightclub, and now it's kind of like a restaurant, shopping mall thing. I don't know what it's doing since the pandemic began, but I can't imagine there's a lot of people going in there. Ridgeway Diner totally closed. Oh, and now the stabilizer loses battery power. Okay, I think that's the energy telling me that the show is over. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you to the generous sponsors who make this and every other show possible. And if you're watching each week and you're not yet a sponsor, please get on to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We're going to have Jim Fetzer tomorrow on Ole Damagard, Light on Conspiracies. We're going to be talking about this lawsuit that he lost and trying to get some details and a little bit of understanding as to exactly what happened. I'm not going to mention what the nature of the lawsuit was, because that alone could get me stricken from YouTube. There is already one strike on a video talking about this from last week, and whoops, there it goes, really out of battery now. And so hopefully people will tune in tomorrow. It's going to be on the sponsor exclusive show because YouTube doesn't want you to see it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.